I feel like I look like a businesswoman right now. Actually, this is a bit of a different vibe, isn't it? So we are doing another Costa drive with me Q&A kind of thing. Just driving through here now. I'm fancying a gingerbread cappuccino this time around, I think. Oh, someone else always opened their back window.
Oh, I forgot that.
Please, could I get a sugar-free gingerbread cappuccino?
Say that again, sorry.
Could I get a sugar-free gingerbread cappuccino, please?
Is it a medium cappuccino with the coconut and the sugar-free caramel?
Sugar-free gingerbread.
Gingerbread, sorry.
Yeah.
Anything else?
Yeah, that's everything, thanks. Can someone please tell me why? Every single time I film one of these, whenever it comes to taking my order, it's just we have a few malfunctions. Feel so holy. Thank you. Bye. We've got some surprise whipped cream on top. I wonder if this is the right order actually. I actually have no clue. No idea what this is. I don't think this has got coffee in it, but it doesn't even taste like hot chocolate. Hello my loves, welcome to another cozy Christmas vlogmas. Why am I saying it like that? Vlogmas video 2. So in this one I just thought we could do like another, I'm gonna take my seatbelt off because I'm parked up. Why have I still got this on? But yeah, so in today's video I thought I would do like a Q&A, come drive with me kind of video. I had some lovely comments on the last one I did a few weeks back, so I thought why not do another. I asked over on my Instagram a couple of days ago just for some questions. I answered some on my stories over on my Instagram. If you don't follow me over there, I'll pop my IG somewhere on the screen. This might be a bit TMI. I've just come back from having a full body laser session. That was probably my 4th like laser session, I'd say, and my god, like I think I got a bit cocky last time I went. I was talking to a friend about it. I was saying, oh, it's not even really that painful, you can't feel it so much. And today, my goodness me, I could feel every single zapper thing that went down, especially downstairs. Like it was so sensitive, and I think because it's my time of the month, like I think I'm even more sort of sensitive. On the topic of that as well, like I've cried twice this week, like just kind of out of nowhere. It was yesterday, middle of the day, I just sort of started crying out of nowhere. I just felt really overwhelmed, and when I came on today I was like, ah, that makes sense now, it all makes sense. Let's just get straight into it. First question, can you tell us how you count your calories? I use MyFitnessPal. That's the only app I've used, to be honest. So I count my calories, macros by using a scale, and I weigh out like my ingredients, and it also has a like barcode scanner on MyFitnessPal. I'll pop it on the screen actually. So it has like a barcode scanner, so you can just either scan something in or type, and you can see your percentages in terms of like protein, carbs, fats and whatnot. You can set them and like tailor them to yourself. I don't use that app to actually calculate my macros. I do that completely separately and like myself. Best tips for creating lean muscle, please. I've lost the weight and now want to get lean. In order to put on any sort of muscle, you need to be doing some form of resistance training. I would always advise to do some form of like weight resistance strength training, increasing your overload like over a period of time in order to gain muscle mass. But to actually gain any sort of muscle, you need to make sure you're in a calorie surplus, even if it's just a slight calorie surplus to begin with, and to ease yourself into things, because obviously your body can't grow muscle if it isn't being fueled with enough energy. What do you think about Pilates? I don't know, how do you say Pilates and yoga as effective workouts? Also love your videos. Oh, thank you very much. I haven't actually ever tried Pilates personally. I love yoga, and I love how like there's so many different types of yoga. There's some that's much more strenuous. I think I did some form of like hot yoga. Is that the name of it? There might be another name for it, but maybe 2 years ago I did like this hot yoga session, and I honestly thought I was about to pass out. Like I remember it was in Toronto. I went with one of my friends who I didn't know that well at the time, and looking back, like I kept looking at her like thinking, how is she still doing, like, because it was, I think it was an hour and 20 minutes or something, and it was like an hour and 20 minutes of hell. I did enjoy it, but like it was so intense because it got so hot. It was my first ever time. We were doing all these like poses, and I think I was probably like the least sort of flexible person in the room. I really felt that. I kept looking over to my friend and was just thinking like, how is she still doing this? Or like she wasn't really sweating. I did like a yin yang yoga, it's called, which was an hour and a half of just literally laying on a mat, some slight different movements. I don't think I'd do that one again. I think I fell asleep a few times. So many different levels as well, like anything. So yeah, I think yoga is an amazing way of exercise. Like any form of exercise that you enjoy, there's no set or like right way to do things at all. What's your workout split? PS, love you. You motivate me every day. Thank you so much. I say this a lot, but honestly, I really am so grateful for you. Every single person that is watching this video right now has ever left a like or a comment. Like, I really appreciate it. Today was the first day back in the gym, and boy, I was just running off like pure, sorry, I'm messing about my hair, pure endorphins. Oh, it's just reminded me and put things into perspective, like about how the gym just like makes me feel. My workout split whilst we were obviously like in lockdown training from home was, I was doing a lot of sets, and it was mainly like high volume with lightweight, which I didn't really enjoy. And I just wasn't really feeling that great doing that style of training. Now I'm going back to my normal style of training. I'm going to have much more of a focus on my lower body at the moment. I feel like my upper body, it always has been an area that develops really quickly, like in comparison to my lower body. Like my glutes have always been quite sleepy, and I've got to do a lot of like activation. Maybe someone else can relate to that. My focus at the moment is like getting my strength back. Today I did some back squats and it felt quite heavy today. So yeah, I just want to get some strength back, because obviously the gyms have been like constantly like opening, shutting, and I just haven't felt like I've been able to be consistent like with my increasing my strength and lifts and stuff like that. In terms of my workout split, I'm going to be training like lower body 2 to 3 times a week. In the past it's been twice, but I'm going to try and see how my body responds to training legs 3 times, obviously across the like space of a week. And then I always train upper body, so I focus on like back and shoulders. I've recently started incorporating like some bicep workouts for the first time. I've never really isolated my biceps before, and I do like how that sort of like ties things in, but I'm not going like that heavy. Like, as I say, personally I just feel like my upper body is very reactive, but at the same time, if you're someone who neglects training your upper body because you feel like you're going to get big and bulky, which is still quite a common misconception, that is the completely last thing that would occur like within your body. Like, to me, I feel like training my upper body has created such a better overall shape. If you avoid training like your upper body, you can cause yourself injury because you've got an imbalance in strength and stuff, and you're only going to be able to get to a certain point like with your lower body. Like compound movements such as like a deadlift or something, that is like a full body movement. So if you think like you're neglecting your upper body, you're going to sort of limit your lower body growth as well. So I would really like take that into consideration if you are someone who, like me in the past, has neglected my upper body. The only way you're ever going to get like bigger and bulky is if you're in a massive surplus. Answer that question. Basically, I'm training lower body 3 times a week. On 2 of those days, I like to isolate my glutes and hamstrings, and then like more sort of like quad day focus with a leg day focus, and then sort of just like an overall leg day. And then, like I said, I will do like shoulders, back and biceps. I do some chest work. Next one is how to lose belly fat. So you can't obviously spot reduce fat. You need to be in a calorie deficit and expending more energy than you are consuming in order to lose like overall weight. Oh my god, wait, my car just like rolled back a little bit. In order to lose like overall weight, and genetically we all carry fat, more so in different places, and doing some form of resistance training, like anywhere like 3 to 5 times a week maybe, and eating lots of like wholesome whole foods. Also, find like what your body works well with in terms of your nutrition. Like, I know we all have different sort of foods that agree more so that if I have a lot of like processed foods, like I feel like I get super bloated and feel quite stodgy and things like that. So I think find your kind of like triggers, if there are any, and limit those, or have more of things that like make you feel good, and make sure you're consuming like your vegetables and just having like a more like nutritious kind of way. By no means like restrictive. Top 3 biggest things that helped you level up your bod strength and aesthetic. Okay, so my number 1 that just like comes straight to mind straight away is focusing on my actual performance rather than always looking in the mirror at like my aesthetic. I honestly, for years, like I was constantly sort of looking in the mirror and just when I first started out, like, I just trained lower body, and I never sort of felt like I was making the results because I didn't have my like clear sort of structured goals, and I was just so focused on like one week I'd want a massive booty, the next week I wanted abs. Whereas when I actually found like I made good progression and first ever got abs in my entire life was when I was more focused on performance goals, and that way you actually work into something. I've said this before, but aesthetic goals like only keep you motivated or just like raring to go for so long. As a female, we have so many blooming hormones and like our time of the month and stuff. I just don't think you can solely go off aesthetic motivation. But I'm not saying by any means, like, of course, like aesthetic goals are absolutely valid, and of course do come into like motivation and stuff like that, but I just don't think ideally I wouldn't rely on that. So for goals like being able to do unassisted pull-ups for so many reps and stuff like that, and I think they're so motivating and very like empowering and just make you feel like a strong ass woman. Second biggest thing would without a doubt be make sure you're fueling your body. Like before I ever tracked any of my macros or calories, I think I used to undereat quite a lot, just not eating enough of like the right foods, which was really difficult to gain like proper muscle mass. And at the same time, when I tried to do my first cut, which wasn't very successful, like didn't really go that well, I really struggled because my body was probably used to consuming and like fueling itself on fewer calories for a long period of time. So yeah, definitely make sure you're fueling your body with like good nutritious foods. My third tip would definitely be to also like plan out your workouts and have something to be accountable to. So use maybe an app to track your workouts, even a notepad or something. I think an app's really good. And just have your workouts pre-planned so that you can see actual progression on paper, and each week you go into your session knowing like your plan of action. What gets measured gets managed. That's one of like the sayings I feel like I try and live to. But just do things like step by step. Don't put yourself straight in the deep end. Do you eat breakfast before or after a workout? I generally train fasted in the morning unless it's a massive leg day I've got planned, and I say it just depends how I feel when I wake up. Like I do listen to my body, but most of the time I just feel like I perform better training fasted. It's personal preference. I do have like a pre-workout or like a coffee, like a black coffee before most of my workouts. Sometimes on a leg day, if I just wake up feeling a little bit kind of flat, I'll make sure I fuel myself with breakfast. And I do think, where are your coconut balls from, and do you have a link? I got them from Amazon. I will leave them in the description bar down below. When your fitness journey started and when you made the big change. I feel like my fitness journey started, so I've mentioned this, I'll leave my like fitness journey video in the description if you haven't seen that. I feel like that's quite a useful video. But I think I was really active like as a young like child going into a teenager. I used to horse ride and stuff, which was like a really not intense hobby, time consuming hobby I would say. So I spent like most of my evenings after school, I was always like up at the stables, like, and I was constantly like mucking out or riding or like helping one of my friends or whatever. So I was just always moving, and that's probably when I first noticed like the biggest transition in my body. Like I lost a lot of like, I don't know if it's puppy fat or something, you know, like when you're younger but I think that was like a mixture of like me being much more active and also puberty. When I went to uni, I started like dipping in and out of the gym. Biggest time I saw a change was 100% this year, 2020, when I did like my first sort of like successful cut, and where I really felt like I'd grasped my body finally, or like I finally sussed out what works for me with my training and nutrition, that's the thing that slowed down my progress in the past, was just like being restrictive and then having like a bit of a blowout, just not having it as like part of my lifestyle. Whereas now I live such a balanced lifestyle in every way, and I feel so much better that way. Have you got any book recommendations? Yes, I have got a lot of book recommendations. Also, off the top of my head, like that are the most sort of impactful are Rich Dad Poor Dad, but it's such a must read if you haven't read that one. The Daily Stoic. They're just like some that I can remember off the top of my head, but so many. I'd love to talk about like some of the books I've read and like how much they've changed my life. Also The Secret, I think even if you're not really into that kind of thing, I do think that is worth a read. What YouTubes do you love to watch? So at the moment I really like Chunks, and me and Mason always watch like their content and they literally have me like in tears laughing. I quite like a lot of like light-hearted content. I try not to watch any similar YouTubes try not to watch too many YouTubers that are like similar to my niche or like fitness so much, just because I never want to like kind of like imitate their content. And I feel like when I just want to be like my authentic self, like when I'm just in my own lane and like just authentic to myself, everything just flows a lot better. So I try not to watch too many YouTubers similar to me. Not that that actually helps me answer this question. But next question, how do you prepare yourself for the holidays and dealing with food guilt? So like I say, I don't want to sound like a broken record, like saying how fitness is part of my lifestyle and I never really feel the need to like whatever. So I live very unrestricted. Like anyone who like spent time with me or like lived with me closely will see like there's such a misconception, I feel like, in the fitness industry on a whole, where like people can maybe assume sometimes that like if you're into fitness, like, and just not just in the industry but anyone that's into fitness or the gym. Like I went to my cousin's house a few months back and I remember my uncle saying, oh Olivia, like I was stressing about my food shop this week because I didn't know like if you'd eat the same as like what we used to a few years ago, like they were making dinner one night or something like that. And I was just like, oh my god, no, like I still eat the same. Like if I ever go to a family occasion or whatever, I'm not gonna like take my meal prep with me unless I'm prepping for like a photo shoot or an event or something in particular. I don't restrict anything because yeah, that's just how I like to go about it. Like everyone's completely different, but my approach, I just like to be quite balanced. For food guilt, like Christmas time, it's just eating time, isn't it? I absolutely love it. So I say just like let yourself free in that sense. Like with actual food guilt, I would just say don't restrict like food groups or certain things from your diet completely, and just have some like moderation in there. It doesn't need to be like a stressful time. Don't make it stressful. Like this time, like Christmas comes around once a year and spending time with like certain families might be a rarity, and like this year specifically, like girl, we have gone through so much, haven't we? Like all of us have just gone through so much. I just think don't add any more pressure. And the next one is, would you ever compete in a bikini competition? I don't know much about like the different federations because there's so many different types. There's one that's like a bit, I think it's WBFF. That's probably a federation I would like to look into maybe in the future, but I never say never to anything. Are you happy? How do you see yourself in 5 years? Oh, that is a lovely question. So I am genuinely happy. I think that's like my priority in life. Like I just want to be happy. That's the main thing. I feel like that anything that sort of makes you unhappy, life's just too short, isn't it, like to live an unhappy life. Sometimes I feel very overwhelmed. Like I absolutely love what I do as my career and I love the choices I make and stuff, and don't get me wrong, I don't feel like I'm not happy all the time. Like yesterday I was crying, but if there's anything that makes me unhappy, I change that. Something that has helped with my overall just headspace and happiness is meditating. I talk about this so much, but it is genuinely the thing that has like made the most impact on like my mental health, and it just helps me daily to be more like grounded and just grateful for just my health, my happiness. Like we all can sometimes take our health for granted. Like I'm so grateful to have like all my limbs in this car right now. Goals. So I've got my goals, but I haven't put it into like year by year. I'm really happy with like the goals that I've achieved this year. When with friends on holiday, what do you do to work out when there's no gym? So I like to take all my friends on a walk. Like everyone enjoys like a walk, or I think so anyway. Or maybe my friends are just leading me on. I just like having a catch up, walking, seeing some like pretty places, especially if like you're on holiday or something. So if you've got an upcoming holiday or next year or whatever, yeah, just go on a few walks. Like that's a good way to keep active. Are you going to college? So I actually went to university and I graduated last summer. Like that has gone so quick. I'm going to wrap that up here, and I hope you're doing well. Let me know how you are getting on in the comments down below, and also if you're one of like the people whose business has been able to reopen in the UK this week, like I hope it all goes well. And yeah, just to let you know, you have got this, and we're all gonna have a good Christmas no matter what, okay? Even if we're in lockdown again, we're gonna have a good Christmas. If you haven't already, I'd love you to stick around by subscribing to my channel, and I'll see you guys in the next video.